In this tutorial, we're going to be exploring the use of icing sugar to decorate cakes. It's a really simple ingredient that's often used in cake decorating, but within this tutorial we're going to be specifically looking at how it can be dusted onto different cakes in different ways to improve the aesthetics, that is, make it look even better. As well as the icing sugar and some cakes, you're going to need a sieve and a template of some description. This can be pre-made or one that you make. Now, dusting icing sugar onto cake should be a fairly straightforward technique. But as you can see from this tutorial, if you hold the sieve and the icing sugar too close to the cake, it's not really a dusting, it more smothers the cake. This isn't very effective in terms of looks, but also in flavour and texture. If you were to eat that cake, it's going to taste and feel very powdery and sugary on top. If you hold your sieve higher up, you can get a light scattering. Now, the reason we use the sieve is to avoid the lumps in the icing sugar. So if you were just to pour the icing sugar as it is from the box straight onto your cake, you'll have great big lumps of powdery icing sugar that wouldn't be very pleasant to eat as well. Here I'm using barrister style templates, so you can buy these pre-made in lots of different designs in order to get a design onto my cake really quickly and effectively. It hasn't taken long, and it's a really nice design that if I was to try and do this manually without a template would be very, very difficult to do. It really is a case of trial and error when you're first starting out, so working out where to hold the sieve and how to dust onto your cakes to get different effects. Now, as I said before, you don't have to use pre-made templates. You could make your own just by cutting a shape out from paper or card. Another effective and simple way of adding decoration to cakes is using fruit to garnish. Not only does it add extra form and shape, but also splashes of bright colours. Here I'm using strawberries that have already been washed, and I'm cutting them using the bridge hold. You see the arch of my fingers means that I am keeping them out of the way as I cut down onto the chopping board. There's all different ways that you can use fruit, especially strawberries. You can place them whole onto a cake, or you can cut them into slices like this. It really is a case of experimenting, having a play, and figuring out what's going to look best on your cake. I'm pairing the strawberries with blueberries, so I've got contrast of colour. Good food presentation tends to have different colours and textures. Brown foods tend not to look too appetising, unless of course it's an indulgent chocolate cake. But splashes of colour such as red strawberries, blueberries, really help to make your cake stand out and improve the presentation. The added bonus is that it improves the nutritional value as well. Like I said, you're going to want to make sure that you've washed the fruit first, but you also need to make sure they're fairly dry before you place them onto your cake, especially if you're placing them on top of icing sugar. If they're too wet, then that's going to affect the icing sugar. It's going to soak up that moisture. So there you go, a couple of really simple but effective techniques that can be used to add colour and decoration to cakes. Have a go yourself, and don't be afraid to experiment and try different things. You don't have to have made your cake from scratch yourself, but a recipe has been provided this term if you want to do so. You're also free to source any recipe you like for your cake, and it can be any kind of cake, so long as you're demonstrating the different decorative techniques.